Hello students. In the last class we discussed about heat and we discussed about temperature and temperature scales, and we discussed about relation between different temperature scales, and in this session we are going to learn about the transfer of heat, specific heats and latent heats. So first I'll start the concept with the transfer of heat. So transfer of heat takes place from body at high temperature to body at low temperature. We already learned this. So transfer of heat takes place from body at high temperature to body at low temperature. Clear? So this heat transfer takes place in three methods. The three modes of heat transfer are: the first one is conduction, and the next one is convection, and the next one is radiation. So heat transfer takes place in three modes. The three modes are conduction, convection and radiation. Now, conduction. Conduction requires medium. Clear? Conduction requires medium. Okay. Now remember, conduction mostly it takes place in solids. Clear? Mostly conduction takes place in solids. Actually, conduction will takes place in liquids and gases also, but it is very less. We have to neglect. We will neglect it. So negligible. So conduction mainly takes place in solids. And again in solids, the conduction is more in metals. Clear? Conduction is more in metals. Why? Because means metals consist of free electrons. Clear? Metals consist of free electrons. Now, the free electrons will be responsible to conduct the electricity also. Therefore, free electrons not only conduct the heat energy, free electrons will conduct the electricity also. Therefore, the metals which are good conductors of heat will also be the good conductors of electricity. What is the reason means? In both we have free electrons. In metals we have free electrons. So if metals will have free electrons, that's why it will conduct the electricity as well as heat. And the next process is convection. So convection will also requires medium. So convection also requires medium. So convection mostly takes place in liquids. Clear? Convection mostly takes place in liquids. And the third one is radiation. So radiation is independent of medium. So it doesn't depends on medium. Clear? So radiation will travels through vacuum also. Why? Because means radiation doesn't requires medium. Clear? It is independent of the medium. So even though medium is present, radiation can travel. Without the medium also radiation can travel. So radiation can travel anywhere. Are you clear? So it is independent of the medium. So now we are going to discuss about each and everything in the next slides. Clear? The first one is conduction. So what do you mean by conduction means? Conduction is nothing but the transfer of heat energy without the actual movement of the particles in the medium. For example, I'll consider this as a metal. Clear? I'll consider this as a metal. Okay, I'll consider this as a metal medium. So this medium is a metal medium. Now inside this we have the particles. Let us say these are the atoms. Clear? Inside the atom we have, or inside the metal we have number of atoms like this, and number of particles are present like this. For example, let us say here the temperature, this side temperature is, let us say for example 100 degrees centigrade. Let us say here the temperature is 0 degrees centigrade. Therefore heat energy travel from this end to this end. Clear? Heat energy travel from left to right. Now for example, let us say the heat energy given to this metal is, let us say the heat energy given to the metal is Q. So heat energy is represented with letter Q. So heat energy given to this metal is Q. Now this heat energy will be absorbed by these particles and it will be transferred to the next particle without the movement of this particle. This particle will stay there only, but it will transfer the heat energy from this point to this point. And similarly, this point will also transfer the heat energy from here to here without the movement of this particle. And from heat energy transfer from to here without the movement of this particle. Again from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Finally it reaches to the other end. So heat energy transfer from one particle to another particle without the movement of these particles. Clear? Without the actual movement of these particles. Okay, and remember, mostly heat energy transfer from one body to another body, so in contact, when the body is in contact. So now we are going to discuss that with the help of slides. That is, conduction is the way in which energy transferred from hotter body to colder body. Clear? So actually conduction takes place from hotter body to colder body. So always heat energy takes place from hotter body to colder body. Clear? Through heating by contact. So for example, if you take this as a body, clear, for example, take this as a body or take this as a metal. Clear? Keep one side of the metal in campfire. Let us say this is a campfire. Keep one end of the body in campfire. Then what will happen means this side will be in contact with the heat. Clear? This side will be in contact with the heat. Clear? Then heat energy transfers from one end to another end. Okay. Now it is a transmission of heat without the actual movement of the particles. Just now we discussed, actually the transmission of heat takes place in metals without the actual movement of the particles. Clear? So particles will remains there only, but the transfer of heat energy will take place. And the next point, conduction requires medium. So just in the previous slide we discussed, so conduction and convection, both the process requires medium. And next one, it takes place mainly in solids. We already discussed that. So it takes place mainly in solids. Again in solids, it takes place in metals. Again, why it takes place in metals more means metals will have free electrons. So it takes place in metals due to free electrons. Now, this is important point. Heat transfer in mercury takes place by conduction but not convection. So in the previous slides, we discussed that convection takes place mainly in liquids and conduction takes place mainly in metals. So conduction takes place in metals, convection takes place in liquids. Now, if you consider mercury, mercury is nothing but a liquid metal. Clear? Mercury is a liquid metal. Therefore, in mercury, the heat transfer takes place through conduction process but not by convection, even though mercury is a liquid. So even though mercury is a liquid, here we have only conduction. Why? Because means mercury is a liquid metal. Clear? Mercury is a liquid metal. Okay. So the next point, a substance which is good conductor of heat is also good conductor of electricity. In the previous slide, we discussed that. So a good conductor of heat is nothing but a good conductor of electricity. Why? Because means a good conductor of heat requires free electrons. Free electrons are more in metals. Clear? Now conduction of electricity possible in all metals. Clear? Therefore, a good conductor of heat is also a good conductor of electricity. Now the next point we are going to discuss is convection. Clear? The next point we are going to discuss is convection. No, convection is another kind of heat transfer. So this convection mainly takes place in liquids. So this convection mainly takes place in liquids. Again, this convection is of two types. One is natural convection and another one is forced convection. Clear? Now remember, in natural convection, there is no need of any external engine or any other external factors. Heat, it will flows from one place to another place. But in forced convection, we require an external motor or an external source. Okay. Now remember, natural convection takes place in sea breeze as well as land breeze. Clear? Natural convection takes place in sea breeze as well as land breeze. So we'll discuss this one by one. So convection, the process in which heat is transferred from one place to another place by the actual movement of the particles of the medium due to difference in their densities. Yeah. Now I'll explain this point, just try to understand. For example, I'll take this as a beaker. So I'll take this as a beaker and I'll heat this beaker with the help of a lamp, a spirit lamp. And this beaker is completely filled with water. Now, the water layer which is close to the beaker or at the bottom of the beaker, the water layer, or you can imagine the number of layers for the water. This is the topmost layer of the water. Here this is the top layer of the water, and this is the bottom layer of the water. Here this is the bottom layer of the water. Okay, now listen. If you consider liquids, in liquids, if we heat the liquid, density decreases. Clear? So density decreases if temperature of the liquid increases. Clear? So density decreases if the temperature of liquid increases. For example, if you heat this liquid, clear, if you heat this liquid, then the layer which is close to the lamp, or the layer which is at the bottom of the container, it will be heated more. If it is heated more, then its density decreases. If its density decreases, this layer will move to the top. Why? Because means always the low density layer will floats on the high density object. Clear? So for example, float or take one iron, take one wooden block, put on water, then what will happen means this iron block will sink into the water, whereas wood block will float on the water. Why? Because means density of wood is less than water. So less density, always it will floats on the top, and high density will sink or comes to the bottom. Now in the same way, if you take this liquid layer, this will be heated up. Clear? This will be heated up. Whenever this layer get heated up, clear, whenever this layer get heated up, its density will decreases. If this density decreases, then this layer will move to the top. Why? Because means this layer is not heated up and it is having less density. Sorry, it is having more density. And this layer got heated up, it is having less density. Therefore, this less density layer will goes to the top. Now the next layer will occupies this position, and again this layer also get heated up. Again its will density will decreases. Again this layer will also goes to the top. Now next another layer will reach us here. Now that layer will also heated up. Again this layer will move to the top. Now here what will happens means here there will be the movement of the, clear, here movement of the particles in the medium. Clear? Here there will be movement of the particles in the medium. Clear? I hope you understood. So in this process, the heat transfer takes place from one body to another place, or one place to another place, by the actual movement of the particles. Whereas in conductors, there is no movement of the particles. The energy just transfer from one point to another point. Are you clear? Now listen. The next point is convection takes place mainly in fluids. Fluids means liquids and gases, but it is more in liquids. So convection is more in liquids. So convection is of two types. The first type of convection is natural convection, and next type of convection is forced convection. Now we are going to discuss about the natural convection as well as forced convection. So first one, forced convection. So what do you mean by forced convection? Means if the fluid particles are forced to move by a fan or by a blower or a pump, it is called as forced convection. Clear? For example, let us say, clear, let us say in your room we have the exhaust fans. Clear? In your room we have the exhaust fans. By using that exhaust fans, we are sending the air particles out of the room. Clear? We have the exhaust fans at the top of the building. Clear? Why? Because means, for example, if the room get heated up, clear, if the room get heated up, the air present inside the room will also get heated up. Are you clear? Now this heated layer, clear, will have less density. That air will move to the top. Clear? For example, inside the room we have some air medium, we have air. If the room get heated up, then air present inside the room will also heat it up. This hot air will have, clear, hot air will have less density. Clear? Just now we discussed hot fluids will have, if we increase the temperature, then its density decreases for liquids and solids, sorry, in liquids and gases. For example, if you heat this air will have less density. Now less density layer will always move to the top. Clear? Less density layers will always move to the top. Now with the help of fan, clear, with the help of fan, we are removing the air out of the room, clear, removing this air out of the room. So here we used an external engine to move the heat energy. Not only that, for example, pumping of blood in human body, clear, for example, pumping of blood in human body, clear, for example, blood will be pumped to all the parts of the human body with the help of heart, clear, with the help of heart, blood will be pumped into each and every part of our body, right? So this blood will be pumped with the help of heart. Therefore heart will also behaves as an engine, clear, or else as a pump to transfer the blood from one point to another point. Therefore this pumping of blood with the help of heart will also comes under the forced convention. So blood doesn't flows freely from one place to another place, or one point of the body to another point of the body. Clear? Now we are going to discuss about in the slides. So example, ventilations in houses. Clear, ventilations in houses, and the force convention of blood in our body by the heart. So these are the examples for forced convections. And next type of convection is natural convection. Now, natural convection doesn't require any external motor or engines. Clear? So, if the fluid particles or if fluid particles move only due to the temperature difference, it is called as natural convection. So here the fluid particles travels from one body to another body only because of what? Temperature difference. Clear? For example, let us say this is a campfire. Clear? Let us say this is a campfire and this is the heat energy around this. Clear? And you just stand here. Now you, between you and this fire, clear, between you and this fire we have the air medium. Now remember, air is a bad conductor of heat. Clear, air is a bad conductor of heat. Are you clear? So air doesn't conducts the heat. Are you clear? So remember, air doesn't conducts the heat. Are you clear? Now listen, that's why during winter, if you're feeling cold, you just wear one shirt over another shirt. Then the gap between the shirt and shirt will be filled by air medium. Clear? Okay, you just wear two shirts now. Clear? If you feel cold, you just wear two shirts. If you wear two shirts, the gap between the two shirts will be occupied by the air medium. So air is a bad conductor of heat. So if air is a bad conductor of heat, it doesn't allows the heat to flow in or doesn't allows the heat to flow out. Are you clear? Then will feel warmer. So here, air present between you and the campfire is a bad conductor of heat. But still we are getting the heat energy because of fluid motion or motion of the fluid layers. Now for example, here the fluid layers are there. You can imagine this air as number of layers. Clear, this air as number of layers. For example, whenever this body or this layer is exposed to this heat, then this layer will get heated up, then its density is less, then it will travel to the less density layer. And again, this layer will also get heated up, and again, it will also travel. And this layer will also get heated up, and it will also travel. So, like that, we are feeling the heat energy. Are you clear? Now, remember, it is one of the slow process. Clear? It is also one of the slow process of heat transfer. Are you clear? It is one of the slow process of heat transfer. And the next point is natural convection cannot take place in the gravity free space. Now remember, if there is no gravity, convection doesn't take place. So convection takes place only in the gravity region, but not in gravity free region. Are you clear? So the next one, examples. Examples for the natural convection is hot air rises by natural convection. For example, just now we discussed. And next one, sea breeze and land breeze. So what do you mean by sea breeze and land breeze means, during daytime, clear, during daytime, sunlight will falls on all the bodies. For example, take this as ocean, take this as ocean, and take this as land. Clear, take this as land. Clear, this is ocean and this is land. Now, during daytime, sunlight will falls both on land as well as ocean. Okay, now remember, water will absorb more heat energy than any other body. We'll discuss that later. So here water, ocean consists of more water, therefore here more heat energy will be absorbed by the oceans. Therefore it will have more heat energy and it is at high temperature. And land will absorb less heat energy. Therefore it is at low temperature. Now what will happens means a hot air will flows from, clear, hot air will flows from, so a small mistake. Yeah. For example, take this as land and take this as sea. Here, take this as land and take this as sea. For example, during daytime, sunlight will falls on all the bodies equally. Clear? Sunlight will falls on all the bodies equally. Now listen. Sea consists of water. Therefore, water will absorb more heat energy. Therefore, it takes more time to heat up. Now, land will take less heat energy, therefore it takes less time to heat. Clear? It will takes less time to heat. Clear? For example, if you have doubt to take one pan, clear, in that pan you keep water and take another pan, for example, in that you keep oil. Clear? Apply same heat energy to both. Clear? Apply same heat energy both. What you will observe means water will absorb more heat energy and it takes more time to raise the temperature. If you take oil, clear, oil will takes less heat energy and it will takes less time to heat up. So in the same way, land get heated up quickly. Why? Because means it absorbs less energy. Therefore during daytime, land will be at high temperature and sea will be at low temperature. Then what will happens means hot energy or hot air will flows from land to sea. Clear, hot air will flows from land to sea. This is called as land breeze. And similarly, during night time, sun intensity will be less. Clear. Therefore, we don't have sun intense. I mean, more sunlight. We don't have sunlight. Therefore, this land get cool quickly. Clear. It will cools quickly. Therefore, it is having low temperature. But sea will stores more amount of heat energy. Why? Because means water will absorb more heat energy, therefore it stores more amount of heat energy. Therefore during night time it behaves as high temperature. Now during night time, heat energy flows from, or air flows from, clear, hot air flows from sea to land. That is called as sea breeze. Okay, so the sea breeze and land breeze because of natural convection. Okay, and the next concept we are going to discuss is radiation. So radiation doesn't requires medium. So radiation takes place from one place to another place, or the transfer of heat energy takes place from one place to another place without the actual medium or without the medium. So therefore radiation takes place in vacuum also. Clear, radiation takes place in vacuum also. So therefore between sun to earth we have vacuum. So still we are getting sunlight and heat energy from the sun because of the radiation. Now it can travel through vacuum also, just now we discussed. It is the fastest process of heat transfer. Remember, out of conduction, convection, radiation, radiation is the fastest mode of heat transfer. Okay, remember, in this process, medium won't get heated up. Clear? Actually, here it doesn't depends on the medium. It may travels medium also, so it won't heat the medium. So actually, this heat radiations travels with the velocity of light. What is the velocity of light? Means 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. Just now we discussed. Radiation is the fastest mode of heat transfer. Therefore, it travel with the velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. And the next concept, heat capacity. So what do you mean by heat capacity? Means the amount of heat energy absorbed or rejected by a body. Clear? For example, I will take this as a body. So the amount of heat energy absorbed by the body or rejected by the body, clear, per change in temperature or unit degree raise in temperature. Are you clear? For example, I'll take this as a body. I'll consider this body at, for example, 27 degrees centigrade. I want to raise the temperature of the body to 28 degrees centigrade. So to raise the temperature to 28 degrees centigrade, either this body has to absorb the heat energy or it has to reject the heat energy to increase or decrease its temperature. Are you clear? Now remember, the heat energy absorbed or rejected to change the temperature by 1 degree centigrade, that is called as heat capacity. Clear? That is called as heat capacity. So now I am going to discuss about that heat capacity. So what is that heat capacity means? It is defined as heat energy absorbed or rejected per unit raise in temperature, or else unit change in temperature, or else you can take this as 1 degree centigrade change in temperature. Okay, now the next point, let dq be the heat energy absorbed or rejected and dt is the unit degree raise in temperature or change in temperature. Then heat capacity is defined as, are you clear? So heat energy absorbed or rejected per means divided by unit change in temperature, that is dt. And units for this is, for heat energy unit is joule or calorie, and for temperature unit is Kelvin. Therefore, units for the heat capacity is joule per Kelvin or joule Kelvin inverse in MKS system. Clear? So MKS system means meter kilogram seconds, and it has another units that is calorie per centigrade in Celsius system of unit. Now specific heat. What do you mean by specific heat? Means specific heat is nothing but heat capacity, clear, heat capacity per unit mass. Clear, heat capacity per unit mass. This is called a specific heat. Or specific heat is also defined as heat energy absorbed or rejected per unit mass per 1 degree centigrade raise in temperature or change in temperature. That is called as specific heat. Clear? So now we are going to discuss about these things. So it is defined as heat capacity per unit mass, or it is also defined as heat energy absorbed or rejected per unit mass per unit degree raise in temperature. It is denoted with the letter S. Clear? Now remember, what do you mean by specific heat? Means specific heat is taken as heat capacity per unit mass. So heat capacity formula is delta Q by delta T by unit mass. This mass will comes here. Therefore, S is equal to delta Q by M into delta T. Clear? Delta Q by M into delta T. Now units for this is, clear, units for this is, for Q units is joule or calorie in Celsius or MK system, for mass gram or kg in Celsius and MK system of unit, and for temperature Kelvin in SI system of unit, and in Celsius system of unit it is centigrade, degree centigrade. So now we are going to discuss about the units. Okay, and one more thing, during specific heats there is no phase change, but there will be rise or fall in temperature. Now listen, phase change means there won't be the phase transition from liquid to gas or liquid to solid or anything. Clear? So there is no phase change like this. Clear? There is no phase change like this. It won't convert from one form to another form. So only temperature will rise or fall in case of specific heat, but there is no change in the state of the body. Okay. And the next point, that is units. So unit for the specific heat is joule per kg Kelvin in MK system, or calorie per gram Kelvin, sorry, centigrade. Or else you can write this as joule kg inverse Kelvin inverse, calorie gram inverse, as well as centigrade inverse. Now specific heat depends on material of the body. Different materials will have different specific heats. So specific heat is a constant. It doesn't depends on delta Q, and it doesn't depends on mass, and that doesn't depends on temperature. So specific heat depends on material of a body. Clear? So even the specific heat formula is delta Q by M into delta T. It doesn't depends on heat energy, it doesn't depends on temperature, it doesn't depends on mass. It depends on material. Okay. Now, the next point is speed. Specific heat is more for water and its value is 4186 joule kg inverse as well as Kelvin inverse. Clear? Now remember, in solids and liquids, clear, in solids and liquids, if you take solids and liquids, in solids and liquids, water will have, clear, water will have more specific heat value. What is that specific heat value? Means 4186. Remember, specific heat value is more means the heat energy absorbed or rejected is more. So what do you mean by specific heat? Means the heat energy absorbed or rejected per unit mass per unit degree centigrade rise in temperature, right? Therefore, water specific heat is more means water will absorb or reject a more amount of heat energy. Are you clear? Now I'm going to the next point. But if you consider solids, liquids and gases, clear, if you consider solids, liquids and gases, hydrogen will have more specific heat. Are you clear? And similarly, the specific heat for water in a CGS system of unit is 1 calorie gram inverse centigrade inverse. Okay. Now, hydrogen has maximum specific heat among solids, liquids, and gases. Actually, if you consider solids and liquids, specific heat is more for water. If you take solids, liquids, and gases, hydrogen will have more specific heat. Clear? Now, we are going to discuss about few definitions like melting. So what do you mean by melting? Means the process in which the solid converts into liquid, that is called as melting. Example, melting of ice. And what is that melting point? Means the particular temperature at which solid turns into liquid, that is called as melting point. Example, melting point of ice is 0 degrees centigrade. So therefore ice will melt at 0 degrees centigrade. Clear? So melting point of ice is 0 degrees centigrade. Okay. And the next slide, boiling. So what do you mean by boiling? Means the process in which the phase transition takes place from liquid to gas. So if a body phase transition changes from liquid to gas, that is called as boiling. So example for the boiling is water converts into steam. That is the example for boiling. And the particular temperature at which liquid turns into gas is called as boiling point. So the temperature at which phase transition takes place is called as what? Boiling point. Are you clear? Example, boiling point of water is 100 degrees centigrade. So at 100 degrees centigrade, water turns into gas or liquid turns into gas. Clear? Or water turns into steam. And next one is freezing. So what do you mean by freezing? Means the phenomena in which liquid turns into solid, that is called as freezing. So example, liquid to ice. And next one, condensation. What do you mean by condensation? Means the process in which the phase transition takes place from steam to or gas to liquid. For example, steam condenses into water. For example, place one lid on the hot boiling water, then you can see droplets on the lid. Clear? That is due to condensation. And similarly, for example, take one water bottle from fridge and you keep in the atmosphere, then what will happen means around the bottle we will get some droplets of water. That is because of condensation of water. Now, sublimation. What do you mean by sublimation? Means the process of conversion from solid to gas directly without converting into liquid. Clear? Without converting into liquid. For example, if you consider water, clear, if you consider ice, this ice, if you give heat energy, it melts into water. And again for water, if you give heat energy, it will turns into steam. Clear? But without converting into liquid, if ice or solid directly converts into gas, clear, if solid directly converts into gas, that process is called as sublimation. So the process in which the conversion takes place from solid to gas directly, clear, solid to gas directly, that is called as sublimation. Example, dry ice will froze, which is frozen forms the carbon dioxide gas. For example, if you take dry ice, the dry ice will turns into carbon dioxide gas. Or else camphor. Camphor is also the best example for this sublimation. And the next concept is desublimation, or that is also called as deposition. So desublimation or deposition. What do you mean by desublimation or deposition? Means here the conversion takes place from gas to solid. Clear? So in sublimation it takes place from solid to gas, and desublimation it takes place from gas to solid. So reverse of it. So reverse process of sublimation is called as deposition. So example for this is hoarfrost. So in the next slide I will show you how the hoarfrost will be. So this is freezing of liquid. For example, if you take a bottle of water or else any other liquid, so keep in deep freezer, then the liquid turns into solid. This is the freezing. And this is condensation of liquid. So condensation of water droplets on the grass. So this is about the condensation. Clear? So as well as if you keep one lid on the hot boiling water, then on the top of the lid we can see some water droplets. That is also called as condensation. And this is hoarfrost. So that is gas directly converts into liquid. So here what happens means water vapor present in the atmosphere, which is in the gaseous state, will converts into ice. That is called as hoarfrost. And next one, sublimation of dry ice. So, and the next concept is latent heat. So what do you mean by latent heat? Means latent heat is nothing but heat energy absorbed or rejected to change the state. Actually, in specific heat, we learned that the heat energy absorbed or rejected to raise the temperature of the body. Clear? The heat energy absorbed or rejected to raise the temperature of the body, but there is no phase change. Clear? For example, in latent heat, clear, in latent heat, there will be phase change of the body. Let us say, for example, if you take this as solid, this solid will convert into liquid. There will be phase change. To change the phase from solid to liquid, or liquid to solid, or liquid to gas, or gas to liquid, either it has to absorb the heat energy or it has to reject the heat energy. Now, to absorb the heat energy, or by absorbing the heat energy or by rejecting the heat energy, it will change its phase. So the heat energy absorbed or rejected to change the state or phase from one body to another body, that is called as latent heat. Yeah, that is called as latent heat. Now in latent heat, temperature of the system or temperature of the body is constant. The temperature of the body is constant. Whereas in specific heat, if you consider this as, for example, solid, so in specific heat, there is no change in the state of the body. Clear? If you give heat energy, or if you reject the heat energy, or if you take the heat energy, there will be change in the temperature, but there is no change in the phase. It doesn't change from solid to liquid or liquid to gas. Clear? I hope you understood this point. Now I'll explain this in the slides. So the amount of heat energy absorbed or rejected per unit mass to change the state, that is called as latent heat. So latent heat is denoted with letter L. So this latent heat is given by the formula, that is L is equal to Q by M, where Q is the heat energy absorbed or rejected and M is the mass. And the next point, during specific heat, temperature of the body remains constant, but there is change in the phase. Okay, so there will be change in the phase from solid to liquid, or liquid to solid, or else liquid to gas, or gas to liquid, but the temperature remains constant. And the next point, units. So units for the latent heat is, for heat energy unit is joule, and for mass unit is kg. So joule kg or joule kg inverse is the MK system of unit, and we have the Cesius system of unit also. Cesium system of unit is for heat energy, calorie is the Cesius system of unit, and gram is the Cesius system of unit for mass. Therefore, calorie per gram or calorie gram inverse is the unit in Cesius system. For example, the amount of heat energy required to change the state from solid to liquid or liquid to solid, that is called as latent heat of fusion. And similarly, the amount of heat energy absorbed or rejected to change the state from liquid to gas or gas to liquid, that is called as latent heat of vaporization. Okay, so that we will discuss in the next slide. So the amount of heat energy absorbed or rejected to change the state from liquid to gas or gas to liquid, that is called as latent heat of vaporization. For example, if you take water, for water latent heat of vaporization is 540 calorie per gram. And similarly, if you take latent heat of fusion, what is meant by latent heat of fusion means the amount of heat energy absorbed or rejected to change the state from solid to liquid or liquid to solid, that is called as latent heat of fusion. So the amount of heat energy absorbed or rejected to change the state from solid to liquid, that is called as latent heat of fusion. For example, latent heat of fusion for ice is 80 calorie per gram. So from this you can say that to convert water into steam we require more heat energy than to convert from ice to water. So to convert from ice to water we require only 80 calorie of energy per 1 gram. Clear? Per 1 gram we require 80 calorie. Whereas in latent heat of vaporization for water, it is 540 calorie per gram. So per gram it requires 540 calories. Okay, so per gram 500 calories means for 1 kg, for 1 kg, so this is 540 into 1000, clear? 540 into 1000 calorie per kg. So if you convert this gram into kg, that is 540,000 calorie per kg. And similarly, to convert 1 kg of ice, clear? 1 kg of ice, so 80 calorie per 1 gram. So for 1 kg means multiply with 1000 grams, that is 80,000 calorie. Clear? So here latent heat of fusion is less than latent heat of vaporization for water. Clear? So I'll this the end of the session. In the next session, we'll discuss about thermodynamics and laws of thermodynamics. Thank you.